Good morning and welcome to Nora's Dog Training Company. We're here this morning with Mashka and Fred, and what we're going to be demonstrating for you today on video is her ability to understand and respond to her obedience commands. The little corrections and the motivations that we give the puppies when we're working with them, and the training equipment that we're using. Fred is using a regular 6-foot web training leash, and he keeps the bulk of that leash folded neatly in his right hand. That leaves the left hand free to give the correction, and the only correction that we give is a little tug and let go on her training collar, and that is the second piece of equipment that we're using. We're using a collar called a martingale, and you'll be taught how to use that during your follow-up training session. Now, if you notice, Mashka is sitting very nicely at Fred's left, which is where all of our obedience training is done, and the first exercise that we're going to demonstrate for you is heeling. The command is Mashka heel, and at this point her job is to walk along beside you nicely like a lady, not forging ahead or lagging behind, and each time that you stop your feet, whether it's to cross traffic or talk to a neighbor, she should sit nicely at your left and wait for her next command. And those sits are automatic. You're not telling her to sit. She's sitting on her own because you stopped walking. Very nice. Now the next exercise that we're going to demonstrate for you is the stay. The stay is a hand and a voice command, and because it is a stationary exercise, it is a one-word command. You should practice this exercise indoors as well as outdoors. Your long sit stay is for 1 minute, working up to 3 minutes. When Fred returns back to her, he will walk all the way around her, and she should remain seated until he gets all the way back around to heel position. He gives her a little pat for praise to tell her she did a good job, and they take off heeling again. And heeling can be a lot of fun because this means that you can walk your dog anywhere. You can take her to PetSmart, you can go out in public with her, and she's well behaved on the end of a leash. Fred leaves her in another sit stay. You see her focusing on him. And this time, instead of returning back to her, he's going to call her, and this is the recall command. She should come right in front and sit, facing his knees, and that stops all that jumping that she was doing when she first got here. She would literally jump off the ground and into your arms. Now Fred will leave her again in another sit stay, and we'll demonstrate that recall exercise again. This is a lot of self-control for this little girl. She was wired for sound when she got here. She comes in a nice sit and goes back to heel and back sitting. Very nicely done, Mashka. And now we're going to set up to show you her down commands, and there are 2 of them. The first one that we're going to demonstrate for you will be a down from a heel position. So with your dog seated at your left, you're going to use the open flat of your palms straight down toward the ground and the one-word command to down. And this is definitely an exercise that you should practice right in your house. Your down stay and your sit stay help to develop attention span and maturity. When Fred returns back to her, he will walk all the way around her just as he did on the sit stay, returning all the way back around to heel position, and then he heels her out of that. And we're going to demonstrate that exercise again for you. She's really showing off. Open flat of your palms, straight down toward the ground, the one-word command to down, and then you tell her to stay. This is a great exercise to practice while you're eating dinner. Fred called her, she came right in front and sat. She's come such a long way, I can't even believe it. And then the very last exercise that we're going to demonstrate for you today is her down from a distance. So with your dog seated, you leave her in a stay. And then you walk out a few feet from her. Going to use your right hand to give the command and tell her to down. Perfect. What a girl. She's a very, very, very smart little girl. She's going to spend the rest of her day at the beauty parlor. She needs a good bath and grooming, nails, everything. So we have really enjoyed having Mashka. She's come a very, very long way. We want you to stay in touch and let us know how she's doing, and thank you for choosing Nora's Dog Training Company.